Welcome, family, to another Kwanzaa Decades in Review. I'm Kwame Keechler, and today, my brother is our special guest, my elder brother, Rene Mutape Kenyatta Triggs. And Brother Rene is going to share with us, some of his background and how he came to know about Kwanzaa and everything. So, Brother Rene, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came into the knowledge of Kwanzaa, and how you rock with it.
Well, first I want to say to family is Hotep, and peace be upon us, and let us have unity.
Word.
The way I came about Kwanzaa was through a great man by the name of Nomo X and Atiba and it's a pet. They grabbed a hold of me. I had about 10 months clean. I was 30 years old. I had already been through the degradations in different parts of Western way of living, from standing up for this country in Vietnam to behind the walls of San Quentin and Folsom and Soledad and places like that, through the decadent society of not knowing the knowledge of who we are and what I stood for. But overall, that the ancestors had their hand upon me. And so I met a great man who I didn't even know who he was, because at that time I had went through life, even though I came from a background of school teachers and everything of that nature. I still couldn't grasp the English language of reading and stuff like that, but I had so much common sense that I could function through life. Later on, I did attain some of the things I need to do to be able to find. So I met Dr. John Henry Clark at the African Center. This is before there was any Taiwi or any of that. And I met him, and he began to sit down and share with me of who I was. He took the time out and the patience, something that we don't do now. We expect for people to know, you understand, just because you put on a dashiki don't mean shit to me. You understand? And excuse my language if anybody.
No, bro, you got to talk free, man. You got to express yourself. That's
man,
right.
You understand?
That's
not
right.
Emancipation. You understand? And the word emancipation means out of one's grip, but not out of one's control. I am totally out of their control.
Word.
So, it's not that nature. And so John Henry Clark took time out, and he began to tell me who I was as a black man, and the things that I felt like I had been raped of the knowledge of who I was, and didn't understand it. Even though my grandmother graduated from Howard University in 1921, her father was a school teacher, and my great-great-grandfather got his freedom by fighting with the 54th Massachusetts out of Kentucky. So, these things were put down inside of me, but I felt a pull, a great pull inside of me. And he began to teach me, and he had other people grab a hold of me. And this thing here, it rattles you. You understand? And back to being who you're supposed to be. You understand? It's no big eye for you. I know y'all call me an elder and all that, but the bottom line, I'm still a warrior, and elders are warriors, and they should be able to give the nation builders, the warriors, the knowledge of how to combat this enemy coming upon us as this present time that we're dealing with. You understand? And that's number one, racial dividends, because we want to be seen and don't want to put the work in.
Right.
We have a lot of people that do that. And I'm so proud to say that y'all are my brothers and friends that I can always call and have, just regular conversation. But we always looking towards the children, the Latutu. We always looking towards them, because we have to put this down inside of them. We knew their history better than we know our own history. And that's the fact. That's why I'm here today, is that I have a photographic memory, and I survive off of that, and I'm grateful for that. Y'all, and I just talked to a young brother, Quasi, and I told him it's an honor to be able to reach out for him to tell me how to get into this, because I'm not really on Facebook or any of that. But John Henry began to tell me about the things that I needed to know as myself, you know, and in that it changed me from being, I was a professional fighter. I started boxing at a young age, but I started also gravitating to heroin, and because of the self-hatred down inside of me, that I thought that this was the images of being cool, and I got strung out on heroin at 14 years old, you know. So this stuff that they're talking about, the inflation of drugs in our community, it's been here as long as I've been living, but they didn't put the name of it on there. You understand? They didn't put that name on there where they could call it a natural disaster. You understand?
Right.
So it's killing. So that's one of the things that I take highly in and pride in, watching you and Hatem and the other young brothers coming up, you know, just doing that. You know, I'm proud of Giami Village. You know, it's a lot of people that raised me to be where I'm at today, you know, and I didn't know nothing about that. And we practiced certain things that we didn't know, but we had the principles, but we didn't know what the principles was. When Big Mama was on the plantation, you understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
My mama off, somebody had to take in. And so it took somebody to grab a hold to me, whether I was in the life, out there getting money, self-destruction, or whether when I came into consciousness. And this is what we forget. We have to not be patient with ourselves and have that capacity to forgive certain things, but also to guide people in the right direction and not look for any outside validation.
Right. You know, I had a quick question for you, Brother Rene. You know, so, you know, you talked about some of those traditions that have come across the Atlantic and have ended up in some of our households. And, you know, I was in a Meta class the other day, and we were talking about how in Kemet, as the priest would leave a temple, he would sweep behind him so that no steps were shown to have entered or come out of the temple. And, you know, and that made me think of some of the things I've read, you know, as far as our folklore and whatnot. And, you know, we had some of those traditions because, you know, many of us didn't have grass, you know, in our yards and things of that nature. And so, you know, people would come up to your house or, you know, to your door, and they'd walk across dirt, literally, right? And as they left, you know, you would sweep, you know, you would sweep back. Well, you go out to where they left the yard, and, you know, and you start sweeping to erase all the steps throughout the yard. And, you know, had you ever come across anything like that, brother?
Well, sure, you know, but the part that really sticks out to me is how this people that enslaved us and took the knowledge of ourselves, they automatically tried to sweep our past away. So yeah, they did. And they're right to this day in Kemet. You understand? They're erasing everything so that there's no evidence that we were ever there. You understand? That we were the first civilization. So this is why it's very prevalent and important that we always stand up and acknowledge what we have done, you understand, in the world, and let them see the footsteps, and then let them be to sweep it away, and so nobody else can attain it. This is what they have done to us. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of the work came from some of our own people. You understand? Because they that to be more empathy and compassion towards the one to destruction instead of to the one leading them to be the rulers of the world, and that we were rulers of this world. And all of us were not kings neither. You understand? We had builders, we had cooks, we had but we
tell the truth.
Tell it. One person better than the other. And that's the problem, that we take on the Western way of, look at what I'm doing. I need you to validate, you know, what I'm doing. You understand? No. You work this thing called Ma'at. You understand? That's the key principle of it all right there. You understand? Yeah, we know about Kwanzaa. That was discovered in 1969. You understand? Right here. That's our stuff. But he had to grab it from Ma'at. You understand what I'm saying? And if we don't, the 40, the 42 principles, not the 142. If we put that down in our spirit, we will be able to understand that the transforming and the renewing of your mind will be back to where you came from, where they tried to sweep it away.
That's right. That's right. No, I mean, there's a number of things that come to mind, brother. So, when you were talking about those footsteps, man, I can't help but to think of one of the scribes of Kemet, a brother by the name of Keti. And
that's right.
In one of his texts, he says, walk in the footsteps of your ancestors, for the mind is trained through knowledge. Open their words, read them, and so that's one thought. There was another thought that came to mind, but I lost it real quick. So, so continue sharing. Oh, the Kawaida. Baba Tony always shares with us this notion of tradition and reason.
That is my Baba.
And the Kawaida, it speaks to that notion of the tradition and reason. And so, so go ahead and tell us about that, man. So how did Nomo and Big Atiba and then Brother Sapet, how did they bring you into the fold, man, of Kwanzaa?
At that time, all they knew was, okay, this guy here, has always, I remember Nomo in the 68 and stuff like that when I was boxing, and I was white, and Nomo was in the African set, and Big Atiba, they would come and watch me fight, and I still had the knowledge of, I just knew that I felt different. Number one is, first and foremost, in my household where I was raised at, because of my ancestors, who I give great praise to, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my ancestors.
Word.
Even my grandfather, Black, he was African and Irish, but he looked like a white man. So he felt that was a great need for us to try to fall into that Western way of living. We had to go to St. Patty's Day parade and all that, and where he knew nothing of the Druids. You understand? He knew nothing of the Irish people that was taking on African belief systems. He knew nothing of that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But he did the best that he could to make sure that he could raise his 2 daughters and his son, because our real grandmother died.
Right.
And he turned to my grandma, who graduated from Howard. She adopted my mother and my aunt. And these are the things that hold out dearly to me of how Sapet, Big Atiba is the one that named me. Big Atiba went through the community and asked, for, at that time I was 30 years old. I had just done 12 years in and out of San Quentin, Folsom, Soledad, Tracy. And I finally got a floater to come home, and worked in the city. And Big Atiba just went and asked people what, as me as a kid coming up, I only weighed like about 109 pounds. I boxed at 109, 119. When I turned pro, I was fighting 124. But for the amusement of white folks, this is where it was individuality. You understand? If I wasn't the best of my game, you understand what I'm saying? I done hit the canvas many times and still got back up. Just like we have done in life when somebody put our neck, and we still get back up and don't get familiar to the degradation and the shame that they have put us down on the ground, and then we could fall into self-destruction. You understand? And at one time I was leading for self-destruction, but it was the knowledge of self. You understand? Didn't make no difference how I did in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. It didn't make no difference how many medals they put on my chest. I still felt inadequate. You understand? It's because it didn't feel right, you understand, for me to do all this and still be treated like the nigga that they tried to say that I was. Even though I am a nigga, and what doesn't mean the derogatory word of what they're talking about. The word nigga means protector of God. You understand? So if I'm an African and it says akara, from the spirit of God, you understand what I'm saying? In the chi, you understand? They know who we are. We just don't know. And so I begin to get that in my spirit, no matter where I've been. And it's caused me a lot of difficulty in life. And it's caused me the to fall back into a behaviors that were similar, like the word fuck it. You understand what I'm saying? The word fuck
Right.
it means to plant whatever you know and whatever you've been taught, to plant it and just get rid of it. This is what these Caucasians did when they slewed each other. They would literally on the battlefield take all their principles and everything, and sometimes screw some of them motherfuckers right there on the field. You understand what I'm saying? This is where that boogering shit comes from. And homosexuality, we didn't have that. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not to throw off on anybody that is gay. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not on that. But I'm more particularly worried about our people. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they do everything to stop us from reproducing. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
So, you know, because of this stuff that happened in this country, my mother and them were took away from my grandfather and they were abused. And so, you know, my mom was, you understand what I'm saying? I can't throw my mama, huh?
That's right.
There ain't nothing more important than your mama. She gave me life, you know, and everything that I've seen from the knowledge of self, everything that I've seen who God was my mama. You understand? She had to, she had
Say that again, though. Say that again. Say what?
You understand what I'm saying? And everything that I looked in the pyramids and in the temples, you understand, it showed where the woman took that sun and held it for 12 hours and then spewed it back out in the morning. And that sun that she had out of her for 9 months, she spewed it out. She gave me life. You understand?
That's
so
right.
when I look at things that people walk around and they have things on there, oh, that's the Black Cross. No, that's not the Black Cross. That's the Ankh. You understand? That's why the woman's vagina is sitting at the top, and where the eggs coming in there, and the male penis is at the bottom. That's the sign of life.
Word.
And we can't, even when we come into consciousness,
that's
we
right.
still hold to the arrogance of who Ma'at was. You understand? And we forget about that. You understand? And who is power? I can't get no power unless the woman gives it to me. Yeah, you know, chicken wings and all that, and whipping that thing on you. You understand what I'm saying? It ain't about that. But it's about the reproduction, that we should treat our women, our Black women. They are strong, but they are so beautiful. They are so beautiful.
Man.
And this is where we're away from that. We disrespect them, and then we allow them, like right now, they're in this, what they're doing now is they're talking about women with power. Women always had power. Black women always had power. They knew this because she was the hardest one to break on that plantation. You understand what I'm saying? So the white, we didn't get fear from the white man. The Black woman showed us how not to act around the white man because she loved us that much. And she was misled being a warrior. So we got to look at Queen Azinga.
That's right.
You know, those things right there keep me entwined with myself, you know, and with my children and grandchildren. You understand? I got one grandchild. Yeah, my kids should be my grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? But the good thing, all Black children are mine.
That's right. That's right.
Mine, somebody had me. You understand what I'm saying? And I was not always under the care and eyesight of my grandmother, my mother, and my father. You understand what I'm saying? So somebody had to put something out of me. And we forget that. You understand? And so we equate everything to an African belief system, which when you come into consciousness, and then we think that we got something, but it's been put down inside of us since the day we hit the shores here. But we lost it. Somebody erased the footsteps in Jamestown in 1619. They started these Negroes are acting up too much, you know. So, you know, it's just an honor to be able to talk and to sit back and listen. See, as an older man now, I'll be 67 this year, you know, looking good too. I mean, you know, Black.
Tell us about it,
you gotta, hey, Kwame, you know what I'm saying? Black don't crack, you know. And, you know, and I love it. You know?
I love it.
So we have to ourselves on how to eat, certain things to do. You understand what I'm saying? And we sitting up arguing with each other while they're regrouping. You understand? these folks are regrouping because they know their time is basically out. So they talk about the black woman, and half the black men are laying in them dungeons. You understand what I'm saying?
That's
These
right.
penitentiary. You
That's
understand
right.
what I'm saying? And do we go in there? Yeah, I went in there right before this virus broke out and got real sick. I said, I ain't going back in that bad boy. I'll tell you that. You understand? Until everybody's is vaccinated or whatever, I'm not going back in there and die. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in there, and I go in there to tell them that you don't have to be in here. And then I did the inventory from 30 years ago when we started the meeting. It wasn't nothing but blacks in those dungeons, in those penitentiaries that we started meeting, Narcotics Anonymous meetings in there. And you could count the white boys and anybody else in there. On, it wasn't. Now, because of this same drug, see, reciprocity got to come back. We don't think America has reciprocity to deal with. Look at what's happening in Texas, Alabama, and all that. So they starting to feel neglected because they're in the same boat, because only the creator could do that. You understand? Mutnetted is the only one could put that storm down there to let them see what's really going on. You understand what I'm saying? And, the discrimination and the racism, you understand, it didn't come from us. It didn't come from us. Yeah, I'm prejudiced. I don't like chocolate ice cream. I like butter pecan. Is that a form? But we use these words and don't understand. We don't have enough money to be racist.
Right.
We don't control. You understand what I'm saying? So, Claude Anderson tells you about who I love dearly. You understand? Ex-Marine, fighter pilot. You understand? John Henry Clark got out of the service as a sergeant major. People don't know that. Self-taught. You understand? And so these are the things. When I sit up and listen to you and Hatim, we love joking. We have jokes on people. But one thing you say, when I heard the other day that somebody tried to charge my brother with anything and my sister with anything from a village that hasn't done nothing. And all we have done is tried to embrace them, and to cause this division is very, the white folks depend on that. You understand what I'm saying? They depend on us to be. You understand what I'm saying?
We got to get out of our own way in many respects.
Yeah, that's self stuff, man. Look at what the nomenclature of the manifestation of. Okay, great. When's the last time you've been on the line? When's the last time you've been up on talking to a gang or kicking it with them and trying to tell them about stuff? I love it because when I was selling bootleg movies, hey, don't nobody use that against me. I know y'all trying the fire stick over and my evidence is clean. But when I would do that, and I would go into these barbershops, and I would go into where people wouldn't even think about going into. That even goes with people that have shows on Sunday and all that. You understand? They can't go and deal with the gangbangers. They can't go and deal with. So me and brother Cecil Ahad, we had been going and doing these things, talking to them. And
is that the same people who had the store?
Oh yeah, that's my childhood friend. You understand?
Man, I didn't know, bro. I didn't know. Okay, go ahead.
Every day together. And the thing about that is that when I would walk into a barbershop and I would hear them talking, and they say, "Hey, OG, tell us about this." The way that I had to put colors out there, because of the front of it had a bandana on it, I had to tell them it was about gang war, which it really was. You understand? The colors, I put it out. Umar Johnson had gave me the copy and told me to make some copies, and I've started distributing those and selling those, and it woke up so many young people. You understand? And then it just went on and on, but what would make me feel good is when they would say, "Oh, gee, tell them about this." But see, I had to have something to validate being able to tell them.
That's right.
That I've been in the same boat with you. I come home from Vietnam and was in Oakland in a gang. I stayed in Vietnam 19 months, didn't get hit, hung out of a helicopter, people got killed around me, all that. Came back to the world, and because of money, because I'm trying to fit into a Western society that don't make no much money I made or how much money I'm getting. You understand? I ended up getting shot and going to prison. Now, what logic did that make to me? Today, I know our ancestors had their hand on me. You understand? Because I had to be able to tell them that I've been there and I understand that. But you can change that all around, you know. And that gives me so much joy, you know, just for me to stay alive, you know, to help another person.
But yeah, in terms of, you know, the things you do, and I want you to share us how this Kwanzaa 365 works in your life, because I you know, I wonder if people know. So share with us how and what you be doing, you know, in the community that expresses that Kwanzaa 365 and those that Nguzo Saba that we talk so much about.
Well, if they just use the first one, just master the first one. Strive for community, nation, and race. What are we doing? We're striving to do better every day through these principles, not standing up talking about the Pledge of Allegiance. You understand what I'm saying? Or, you know, things of that nature, but to strive for and to maintain community, nation, and race. Order. And then you have to get in your head, because, you know, people been in your head, them senses that you had. You understand what I'm saying? You know, strive for and to maintain unity, nation, and race inside of me.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, you know, I deal with Africans. We all Africans, but sometimes we get mistaken thinking that we're less Africans.
Right.
And they read their Bible all the time. They read that all the time, and they read their Quran all the time. And they get upset when you tell them about, wait a minute. Now, we were way before them. My aunt was before Christianity, Islam, and any of that. They took bits and parts of that. Musa took bits and parts of Ma'at, which he had to make salat to Ma'at 5 times a day. This is before there was any Islam.
Tell them about
it. Musa talking about Moses. You understand who they don't know? Musa. You understand?
Right.
He had to 85 when he walked out of there. So that means he knew that. So the commandments that they got, you understand, thou shalt not. That's how you teach a little kid, man. Don't do that, baby. Come on, don't do that. Then you crack in the head, you understand what I'm saying? And then you forget. As I have not done this. I have not done this.
That's right.
So he knew, or they knew. See, we underestimate the devil. And or you know, or whoever they want to call the devil. You understand? And there's some black devils running around here. I remember when I was in the next Islam, worked for the city, and I would have a Negro come up to me and right in front of the white man and ask me, say, hey, brother Rene, I was Rene X then, and he says, do you believe that the white man is just to see what I would do, so that they could expose me for what do I believe? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Or no. And I says, you need to look at his works. You understand? Of what he has done. But if I'm the father of civilization that walks on the planet of this earth, me, the black woman and me, you understand, then that makes me the father of the devil. So then I would have to switch. They look at me and say, damn, how did this dude switch this conversation back to me? You understand what I'm saying? Because if you've been wrongly guided and you don't think that you have any faults, then we need to look again.
Say that. Damn, you're dropping some golden nuggets here, man. Shoot.
I think I stopped over at McDonald's and got some of them McNuggets over there and threw them over. Even though I don't eat no meat, you know what I'm saying? I know a bunch of y'all, you know, kind of love it, but it's getting better. It's getting better.
Look, Davida turned me on to some of that Mr. Hibachi, man, and I guess hell, this is a commercial for him, right?
Look,
But
let me tell you, that's my sister. I love her dearly. You understand? And I stand with her against anybody and all odds because that is a soldier. That is a soldier there, you know. And
word.
Levita, I love y'all very much. And don't worry about nobody. You understand? I've never heard of y'all doing anything, and I've watched very closely. See, I got big eyes under these glasses. You see them? Big bad. So, you know, and so I see everything. That's how I survive. And one
Word.
thing I see in those two people, I see integrity. And whoever accused them, they got one finger pointing at them and four of them pointing back at themselves.
Mm.
So whatever they want to say, you know, is bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? And they worry about somebody cussing. But when they don't worry about that when it's come times to raise money and to do this and to do all this for different organizations, and we do it. You understand? So those are the things that bother me, you know.
Well,
But it
you know,
still gives me great joy to see my people prosper, you know, and do the things they can to, whether it's tangible or economically, but mainly mentally. That's
word.
the main thing that we suffer from is
Well,
mental health.
when we talk about that, we refer to our comedic virtues. You know, we talk about, we got to start with the mind, and then we can
Absolutely.
control what comes out of our mouth and what comes out of what we do. So, like you said, bro, we got to begin with that renewing of the mind, as it were.
Absolutely.
So,
And you know, the regurgitation of once your body gets adapted to something, it's even though, you know, and I'm just using this as a metaphor because that's, you know, as something that where they fed us a bunch of shit, man. So they took and put a
right.
bowl, they give you a bowl of bullshit, right? And they put honey and molasses, gravy and shit over top of it. And then you eat it, you know, and you ask yourself, am I eating shit? You understand? And then your body used to, and then it gets familiar to it to where it just stays in there and it causes a fungus, not only in your body, but in your mind.
Well, bro, shoot, you were talking about the metaphor there, but hell, at MIT, they made some kind of I forget exactly what it was, but they made some insect shit smell like peppermint.
Yeah, I remember that. Right, you know, and that's the sad thing. You know, I see now they have, you know, plant-based. Ishmael been making plant-based meat before it was in the store.
Mm.
You understand? So now everybody, you know, and so this ain't nothing that I ain't been, you know, I'm glad it's in there, but you need to sometimes look at that package and make sure they got the right stuff in there, you know, but Ishmael makes that. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody else getting some paper, you know, my boy Ish ain't getting, you know, he doing what he got to do because he's been doing this for years, you know, and we sit back and think about it. You know, I got to also share and give honor and most to the Most High, my ancestors that stuck with me through my accident that I had, you know, and when I shared with family of what happened, you know, I told them to change the front tire on the truck that I drove. You understand, the dump truck that I drove, and they didn't do it. But really, the ancestors had a plan better for me. You know, number one is I got 8 screws in my back today. I almost lost my life. But in the process of that, you understand what I'm saying? I was able to tap in to something that and acknowledge what happened. So when I shared these little things with my family, my aunt, you know, my cousins and stuff like that, when I went up under the knife and they told me that they was going to put the screws in my back, you understand? And I just remember going out again because they had me on drugs and, you know, shot me up to keep the pain. And I remember walking with a plate in my hand. And my brother was sitting at a table, and all my people that have already went over, that some of them I had a chance to wash their feet so they could step out into paradise and come back and protect me. And some of them I didn't, you understand? But because I know knowledge of certain things like that today, I constantly tell my people to wash your people's feet before they remove them so they can go over and come back and protect you. And so as I was walking with this plate, my mother's brother who fought Sugar Ray Robinson, who taught me how to box, he said, boy, where the meat at on your plate? I said, Jim, I don't eat no meat, man. Why are you messing with me? And so I see my brother who's already been here and my cousins, and I look down the table, I see my dad and my mom sitting close to each other, my great-grandfather, my grandfather. I see everybody in my family, but behind them, it was another table. I'm up under the knife, and I'm seeing this. I don't know, this happened to me twice about my ancestors, and I see all these other people, these Africans, and sprinkles of mixed people in between them. You understand what I'm saying? And my uncle, he's sitting there, and he's looking at me retarded, you know, like, how come you ain't got no meat on your plate? You understand? And I'm saying, okay, Jim, I don't eat meat. Why don't you lighten up? You know, because he had huge hands, and that's who taught me how to jab. So he got up and he was walking away, and then my cousin and my brother Daniel Ford got up and was walking away, and some other people, they was walking. I said, where y'all going? Y'all want to eat with me? They said, boy, just sit there and eat. And I woke up. So what I'm saying today, I didn't know that they was making sure that I had time to stop doing the deeds and going to work. You understand? I might be, hurting sometimes because of these screws in my back, but I don't never have to work another day in my life. So a lot of times things happen to you, seem a certain way, but the ancestors was right there letting me know, now you can do what we want you to do freely. And don't worry about any economical or, and I ain't bragging, man. I mean, it's some money, you know what I mean? And I can survive, but it also gave me time to think about what I want to do and prove myself. And I want to become a psychologist in substance abuse, and it's not taking one side of it, but I want to deal with our people because they deal with so much right now. It's pathetic, man, and just a little bit that we could pop on them. There's geniuses under the influence of dope. You understand right now. So these are the kind of things that I want to share with the audience that the ancestors had able for me to see. And I got to share this, that 45 years ago, I returned home from Vietnam, and I believed in, the American dream and all the good things I loved, and I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I didn't. I loved being a Marine. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was an accomplishment that my grandmother could see when here it is. When I was 14, I was on heroin, and I left and went in the Marine Corps. And I did what I had to do, and I came back, and I wanted to be a drill instructor. And I was an E4, that's a corporal, and they sent me down to South Carolina. And this cracker, that's what I'm going to call him, you understand, staff sergeant, was really jealous of me because I had more accommodations than him. And he had me doing no bullshit, you understand? And so I would always ask him in front of other people because he couldn't take those ribbons off my chest because they were there.
Right.
And he says, I asked him, I said, how did you go to Vietnam 2 times and you don't have no combat ribbons? Yeah. So this would make this Peckerwood real mad. Right? So he called me in the office, and he called me. By the time I closed the door, he said, nigga, by that time I done already did what I had to do to him. And the process started with the good old boy syndrome. And they ended up sending me up to Camp Lejeune. I ended up getting busted all the way down and put in the brig where they put me on diminished rations for 2 months, painted the door black, kept me in there just in my drawers, took my mattress out, all that. And every 30 days they give you 3 meals, you understand? But they put you on 1,500 calories a day to try to break you all the way down. And they did that to me, and I ended up getting a GOS discharge. That means for the good of the service to put this psychopath man out of here. You made me this way.
Right.
But you brought me home in the injustice that you had done to me after we have served this country. You understand what I'm saying? And so 45 years went by, and that bothered me, man. It bothered me so bad. They wasn't liable to do anything for me, but if I started using drugs, they had to take care of me. And they eventually, that's what they ended up doing. I was able to go back to treatment, and I got going on 20 years again, 19 years. And so about 2 years ago, I got my record expunged, 3. And the public defender asked me, I'm going to show you how the ancestors work. You understand what I'm saying? Their process is their process for me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for me to leave here until they finished the job and to get my payment well done. You understand what I'm saying? So
that's right.
what had happened is, and I have to share this, they got my record expunged and stuff like that. And so she said, let us work on your military. I'm going to show you how the ancestors work. 2 years went by, about maybe 50 days ago. I'm walking out of the doctor's office from my treatment, and the young lady called me. She said, Mr. Triggs, she had told me eight months ago that they accepted to review my record. You understand? And so while I was incarcerated in the brig, they gave me a good conduct ribbon. You understand? For good conduct. I've never been in trouble. Now I'm locked up and you giving me a good conduct. What are you doing?
Right.
So you forced my hand because I couldn't read what you was giving me in front of me. But the ancestors had a program that was there and to glorify their, I'm acknowledging the ancestors.
Right.
That's who I'm acknowledging. And
I
so
hear you.
told me, she says, Mr. Triggs, you run. They gave me a general with all honorable conditions. That means that they don't get to drape the flag over my casket after, the bib or all that after it's over with. I want red, black, and green on my casket anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So that's for me. But nevertheless, that they have to deal with, they said that they had not, that everything that they had done was racially motivated. Now, this is the Secretary of the Navy saying this. Their lawyers said that everything that was done to me was racially motivated, that I had no problems overseas and was constantly promoted and came back and put down south with some good old boys that thought they could just do anything to me. See, that spirit of rebelliousness was, you're not going to say anything to me.
So you would have been somewhere between about 20, 22 years old when they did this to you, right?
I was 20. I went to Vietnam. I was 18.
Okay.
19, about 2 months after I got to Vietnam. And I was 20 when I walked out of there. Okay, so I stayed over 19 months. I had no problems. But what's so good about that is they gave me all my stuff, proved that it was racially motivated, and that the inconvenience that has happened to me from 1975 to today, they're going to have to take it. So they're going to have to take care of that. And this ain't my words. This is the words of the Secretary of the Navy.
Well, part of it is...
so my 40 acres in the middle coming in.
Well, I've heard it said, and this is actually a quote coming from an elder, and she said, this is a case where I'm going to make their ignorance, or no, this is how I'm going to show them that ignorance costs. And so, the ignorance of their behavior because you were a black man and they were feeling themselves and thought they could get away with this, that, and the other. Now it's costing them.
Sure.
And the 45 years of covering all that stuff up. Now it's costing them.
And it's, that, the thing that really, it ain't even about the money. I don't think it's not to me. It's just that my mother and my grandmother knew what kind of grandson they had raised. And because of, I was brought up, my grandmother was very thorough. And she had a lot of white friends because she was a school teacher. But she always told me as a kid, don't look down at your feet. Don't look over to the side. She said, look them dead in their eyes and say what you got to say.
Mm-hmm.
And her father, who fought at San Juan Hill, told me when I told him that, hey, Grandpa, you know, I mean, be honest, man, I used to fuck with my great grandfather. I used to make him pissed because I used to always be doing stuff, you know, and but he always would give me some wisdom, and he would tell me about when they got finished fighting with Teddy Roosevelt, and them wasn't even with him. The black man is the one that took the hill at San Juan Hill, and one of his captains took a piece of that flag and put it in their pocket, and they asked him who was it that captured San Juan Hill, and they said the Cocolos, the Mayates, meaning the chocolate boys. So when I told him that I was going in the Marine Corps, he dropped his head and he began to tell me a story. I didn't understand it then. He said after we would get fighting, doing things, we would have to fight when we got back to our tents.
Ain't that
you understand?
Wow.
Because the white boys was coming over there after they didn't fought. You understand? Coming over there fucking with them. You understand what I'm saying? He said they used to call him Mr. Rabbit because he would break his rifle down. As soon as they put the head through there, he'd crack them. You understand what I'm saying? And so now this was an educated man who was a diehard Republican. You understand? So you know, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, I pay homage to him every morning. I got all my people's stuff downstairs on the thing, and I burn incense, and I thank the ancestors for them, for just having me and giving me that knowledge, man, you know.
Right. You know, and I'd share this little story with you now. You know, Brother Hatim's from Akron, so, you know, he probably heard of Butch Reynolds. Now, Butch Reynolds, you know, he held the record in the 400 meter at one point.
Right.
And, you know, then they claimed that he had taken some drugs.
Right.
You know?
I remember.
And, you know, and that brother spent years trying to clear his name. But the point I'm trying to make is that in much the way, you know, your ancestors now or you know, your great grandparents and stuff then were talking to you. Before Butch's grandfather passed, he told Butch, you know, he called Butch to him and he said, because Butch has his same, you know, his grandfather's name, which was Harry. He said, son, I need you to clear my name. And that's what Butch, that's what Butch had to, you know, do. And it took years to do it. But finally, and then unfortunately, they took some of the best years off of Butch's track competition, you know, competition years. But nonetheless, you know, that was the major thing in his heart. He's like, I got to clear my grandfather's name because he shared the name with his grandfather.
My thing was the same thing that you're saying is that I just wanted to, I come from a long line of people that stood up for this country. And I just wanted to clear they cleared my record. They said that everything that was done, that was charged with, they dropped all the charges and cleared my record. I have none of that on my record, and they had to make it a whole different record today. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right. They had to expunge it. Shoot, that's right. That's only right.
A lot of that comes from the truth. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And when we talk about truth, you know, and whose truth? I've only heard a few people speak out, and I'm talking about white folks. We've heard us say it many a time that when the black soldiers came back from the war, you know, whatever war it was, they never gave them the Medal of Honor right That's there. Right. You understand? And my elder, Dr. John Henry Clark, began to teach me about that because he's seen my DD 214. You understand? And the reason why they never gave them the Medal of Honor because they could walk on the Senate floor and stop it. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they always gave it to us when we was dead. But the ancestors had a different plan for me. They wanted to make sure that I was able to see this and I would be in my right mind. I've been clean. I don't use drugs. I don't smoke. I don't do nothing. I might eat a booger every now and then, you know, come on, yeah.
That's too much information, man. You and Baba Tony, man.
Yeah, you know, and you know, John Henry Clark said, unless you, in order to digest truth, you have to have a little bit of humor in there. And so if I would have got that when I was in about 45, I probably would have OD'd. You understand what I'm saying? If
Right.
what's going to come to me, I probably would have OD'd or
Right.
whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But when they wait to see the blooming of your mind, you understand what I'm saying? That how they reconformed your mind through the knowledge of self. Man, it's so amazing, man, that I sit back now and I tears roll down my face. Look, hey, I'm a goddamn warrior. And I
Word.
don't, I it's hard for me, even with my mother. And I got that from my mother's mother. Nobody's never seen my grandmother cry but me, because I was the same complexion as her. And so when stuff would happen in the family and my grandfather would die and all that, I would always go up and be close to her, and I would see tears roll down her face. Or one of her students that she had in class, she had a book that she had all the way from World War II of the students that she taught in school that
Wow.
died. And she would, when the Vietnam War first started off, I wasn't even thinking about going in no service. I was a little kid, you understand? And my dad was already over there in 57, and he was in Korea, and then he was in World War II. So he was in 3 conflicts. He died at 47 years. And I would watch my grandmother pull out these pictures of them when they were kids, and she would cry about her children that died in defending this country. So, it's a lot of things that we have a great heritage. We think that everybody's supposed to be in this great big melting pot, that we got some people coming at us right now that we better get ready and get close to each other, because they depend on us to be excited. And they can multicultural bullshit all they want to. You understand? I don't remember no Eskimos picking cotton, none of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? Any wrongdoing is wrong. When you separate children from their mother, like they were doing at the border, sure, there's some compassion and empathy, but it was no compassion for us 400 years ago. My teacher, John Henry Clark, said, I would get teary-eyed over your 6 million when you get over my 60 million that sit at the ocean. And that's what Dr. John Henry Clark said, told me out of his mouth. You understand? This is, and I think Hatem might remember when he used to come to the Africans, and this is before he went blind.
Because at that time, during that time, he was going to the African Center. He'd make quick jaunts up to Oberlin, because we had him coming through Oberlin at that time too.
Right. So we have to come together. I love Baba Tony. Baba Tony keeps me grounded. Keeps me very grounded. When we was doing the African Levita and Makeda, Christine, and all of us was over there helping whatchamacallit at the African thing over on Bryden Road, and somehow whatever, it just he started some bullshit. And so what we did is we took all the money back. This is the and people couldn't believe that we did this. We took all the money back that we had raised for that organization and gave it back to the people. We didn't keep it. Do you know what kind of standard did that put for?
That shows a high integrity standard.
And Levita,
highest kind.
You understand? She was one of them. Makeda was one of them. You understand? Christine was one of them. And so when I made my apology, but first and foremost, I checked Baba Shango, whatever his name is. You understand? Elder Tony told me, I said, man, I need to apologize, because I'm a real hard person, man. I say some real stuff to people, and then I regret it, but I'm man enough to say I'm wrong. And my Baba told me, said, no, you was not wrong, but I had to still apologize to let him know I could work with him, but I can't work up where you're giving everybody else credit. We had an Oriental lady in there that hadn't raised no money for it, always talking about we didn't know what we was doing or this and that, but we raised the money to do what had to be done. And she's not going to sit up there and talk about we don't know what to do. I said to her face when they have the Oriental Festival over there at the park, I said, I bet you don't hesitate giving up $1,000.
Mm.
All you can do is take the flyers that we got here and sit them at the library. You can't pass them out to your people.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
a lot of foolishness, man. So we
Mm-hmm.
they're not white people that that they're with us. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
They sold us all over the world. We had already rotated around the world before there was anything called racism or any of this, and taught people how to live, and people flipped on us. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Taught them what agriculture was. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
now we're in Northwest Africa, just like David M. Hotep out of Detroit
That's
that
right.
dug the pyramids out there in Chillicothe and found our
Mm-hmm.
remains down there 40,000 years old. We had
Right.
been here way before indigenous people who ever stepped here. We're the real indigenous people. You understand what I'm saying? So Andrew Jackson said when he was in South fighting, he said, I'm fighting niggas. These ain't no Indians.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And so when Osceola, who was married to a woman called Morning Dew, you understand, was a black woman. You understand what I'm saying? People didn't just run with Harriet Tubman to the north in the winter. They went over there with Osceola, because if he got with Osceola, he wasn't going to let you take nobody from him. You
That's
understand
right.
what I'm saying? And so when they
That's
talk
right.
about word seminar just means runaway. That's all. There
Mm.
was no seminars. They were runaways.
Right. in there in Osceola, Florida or something like that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
But yeah, sure. But just I don't want people to get lost, but I wanted you to share what you shared, because for those of us who are learning about the principles, for those of us who know the principles, this is how Ma'at plays out. This is how the Nguzo Saba plays out. This is
absolutely.
how the Kawaida plays out in our lives.
Absolutely.
I
I
mean,
check.
I had another contact with Elder Brother Rene here, and I didn't realize it before. But Elder Brother Rene knows my oldest brother, who is William
Oh,
Charles Eachler.
that's my
Right.
boy.
And I was like, dang, it's a small world. And I
And you
mean,
go to
but my brother William would tell you
with Brother Jesse.
that I would never give up on him.
That's right. That's right. And
I let him know when, things weren't right, but I'd never give up on him.
love Bill to death. And I'm here when we might not see each other 10, what we remember when a program was discriminated towards. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was all the other, but we put most of the black groups together. And at that time of the epidemic, when they didn't call it an epidemic, called crack cocaine.
That's right.
And the gang, the reason that they didn't call it an epidemic is because it was killing black folks.
That's
But they
right.
was, and if it became an epidemic, that means the federal government has to step in, just like it is now. They never called heroin an epidemic, but it's, until it started killing them.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these programs didn't come about until, that happened. And so people don't understand. I'm saying this to the gangbanger. I'm saying this to the dope fiend. I'm saying this to the sister that's been derogated, tricked out, and going back and forth. You have a great cause. You understand? And
That's
all you
right.
have to do is step away from some things. You understand what I'm saying? I've seen sisters that period, that you didn't think that they was going to be able to do nothing but be hoes the rest of their life. I got to talk straight up here. You
No,
understand what I'm
be
saying?
straight. Shoot.
Now they're saving lives. You understand? They're
That's right.
saving lives.
That's
You
right.
understand? I seen dope fiends, man. You understand what I'm saying? cold, just petty motherfuckers. You know, see, I took pride in it. Don't make a difference what kind of dope fiend you are. You understand? The candle gonna hit the bottom. The wick's gonna hit the bottom.
That's
You
right.
understand?
That's right.
Seeing people up out of this. You understand? And work programs, but for me, I have to work it in an Afrocentric way because see, programs still take you away from the knowledge of who you are. You understand what I'm saying? And then you go that program, and then you'll see the discrimination in that program, but you'll see that, oh, the bed ain't open to you, but it's open to them. You understand? Because see, number one, we always have to put foremost that they're trying to you know, survive their race, man.
Right. They're trying to save their own. Shoot, make it plain. That's right.
I'm not mad. You understand?
That's right.
I just wish we could get into wanting to let us, you know, love each other enough. You understand what I'm saying? See, the God that I serve, you know, that he said, I'm going to give you a little bit of me and you're on your own. You understand what I'm saying? And you're on your own. And then you exercise this. But they put it in a book where he says, greater than he that's in you or she that is in you. Right. I like using the word she. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. You understand what I'm saying? In you, you will do greater works. You understand? But we take that book, man. That book, where did they get it from? They better know where they got it from. They got it from my aunt, man. You know, and these are the things that we get away from around, and it not being all, you know, I ain't that damn holy and all that, you know, you know, but I love being an African. I love being
brother, you know, but brother, you know, holy or not, you are divine. You know, and out of your divinity, you do great works. You know, and so for that, I am grateful. You know, shoot. You know,
I'm grateful to have both y'all around me to keep me grounded. And I think y'all be saying that elder shit just to make sure that I'm getting old or something.
No, man. You know it's because you look prettier than the rest of us.
Take that up with my mama. You know what I'm saying? She the one told me that. You know, I'm the only kid, so you know. But the thing about it is I love being around. We always laugh. I love being around Elder Tony, Baba Tony. Man. You hear me? Because he can go there, man. He can go there, man. I mean, and I love him. I got a couple elders that are very spiritual. Elder Falani, man. I always think about him, man, because he watched me come through Maryhaven, you know, and he just told me that I'll be all right, you know, and he never looked at me any different. And, you know, I try to check on him as much as I possibly can, you know. And there's a couple other people in that I really miss being around due to this virus, you know. Because I really don't. If it wasn't y'all, I wouldn't be on here saying the things that I'm saying now, because it's just some things that we put out there that some, you know, that we shouldn't really know. But it, you know, they've already deemed us as black extremists. You know, and how they do that is, how do you deem somebody a black extremist when you can tell them who they are and it brings down crime? You can tell them who they are and it stops the drug use. You can tell them who they are and it stops the abuse and treatment of the woman and the children in the household. You can tell them who they are and they be able to be on the foundation of standing up and taking care of their family and so taking care of their next.
Stop right there for a moment, Brother Rene, because they can tell you who you are. But when we define ourselves, right? Name ourselves, right?
That's Kwanzaa.
Shoot, that's right. That's right. And so you know, that's the heart of what, you know, what you're talking about is that, you know, we have to get away from what they say and get into what our ancestors have said and have passed down to us, you know, and start, for lack of a better expression, you know, we have to start imbibing it, eating it, drinking it, living it.
The whole gamut.
That's right.
So, you know,
Word.
that's one that I could go on, and but I'm just glad that I feel privileged to be in the company of you and Hatim and the rest of the people that I love, that love me in the community. And
Well, brother, you
I'm proud
know,
of Giami Village. I am very proud to be a part of that. You know, uh, we're going to be me and Tim have to take a little journey Thursday.
down south, down in the Cincy land. Yeah. You still there, brother?
Open intercom messenger. Studio. Link.